Welcome to SGSM. I'm your host, Alex, and today we're going to talk about The Conjuring 2. I'm sorry. I wanted to do this review as seriously as I could, but this movie was just, I just couldn't take it seriously. Um, okay, let me talk a little bit about this. So, those who don't know about the almost infamy of The Conjuring 2. It was banned in France because apparently it was so scary that people were gasping constantly, and so it would start fights. There was rumor of a man who died of a heart attack from seeing the movie. It was so scary. And I just didn't get it. I just didn't get it. I didn't understand why this was so scary to people. Okay, so uh, it is a direct sequel to The Conjuring. It's based on the true story of the so the first Conjuring was based on the Amityville murders, which were claimed to be that a man was possessed by a demon and then caused him to go and murder his family. Whatever. So in The Conjuring 2, it's the story of the same spirit medium who went to the Amityville house, to a house in England where a girl was apparently being possessed by some sort of spirit. It's one of the most well-documented cases of the supernatural. So, the problem with this movie was how it started, and the explanation of what happened, and then so they start you basically with an opening text crawl explaining this case and basically the plot to the first movie. And then they say that it's based on it's like that this is the story, or based on the true story. And that was when they lost me. That was when I could no longer take this seriously. Because basically what that said to me is that everything in this is going to be total bullshit. So the beginning, I actually have to say, was pretty decent. Not in terms of like horror or suspense or being scary in any sort of way, but rather that the story about the psych, the medium, the couple that goes around and investigates these things. The parts that talk about their public appearances and the way that they investigate things, I thought was actually really fascinating and really interesting. I would have preferred a movie that was more about that than attempting to be a horror film. Even the beginning with the introduction of the family, the family dynamic itself, I thought was interesting rather than scary. And developing if I think it would have been just so much better of a movie. Here, okay, let me explain the movie, and then I'll tell you what would have made the better movie. So, the spirit medium and her husband basically get invited to be sent over to check out the case by the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church performs exorcisms, and this takes place in like the 1970s or something like that. So, but they're like, the family's like, no, we don't want to go because people will make fun of us if it's a hoax. And they're like, well, we won't really say anything, we'll just send you over, and if there is something, then we'll do an exorcism. If there's not something, then you just come back. So they go over and they do this investigation and stuff, and basically the demon. Oh, okay. It's a ghost possessing a girl, being controlled. It's like, and then the ghost is being controlled by a demon. And so the demon is making this, the ghost of this really old man who died in the house, for some reason, maliciously possess and torment this family. And some of the ways in which it does that are, you know, things that you'd expect of like a poltergeist type supernatural event. So the movement of objects, levitation, things like that. Of course, none of this is reality, but but it's the kind of things that you would expect for this kind of thing. So then you get to some of the most ridiculous manifestations, like the Crooked Man. And so there's the nursery rhyme of the Crooked Man. Once was a crooked man who walked a crooked mile, and, you know, whatever. And you know, it's a creepy little thing, like nursery rhyme. And you know, if they had done something just about that, I think that could have been kind of scary. Until they showed the ghost, the demon ghost, manifesting itself as the Crooked Man in somebody else's house, and they used really cheap stop motion CGI, and I'm just like, this is awful! This is hilarious! I heard a few gasps in the audience, and or like a few like stifled cries when they showed it. I just cracked up. I couldn't help it. It looked so bad. It looked so bad. And so, and then they're basically doing all this investigation, and then one person sets up a camera to look into the kitchen, and it turns out that the girl trashes the place herself. She says that it's to the girl says, the little girl who's being possessed says that if she didn't do it, then the ghost would have killed basically everybody. So she trashed the place, and then everyone gives up. Everyone gives up. Like, alright, it was fake, everyone. Let's go. It was a waste of time. And they're like, but what about her teleporting? What about, like, the weird things? It's like, how the hell did she have this, like, 8-year-old girl, like, flip this huge table and throw it across a room? How the hell did she do that? They're like, no, but we got it on video. She did it. It's all fake. It's all fake. And so, as they're leaving, I know I left out a huge part of the story, and the huge part of the story is the family interacting with the medium couple. That's like 70% of the movie. And I mean, if they had like worked on that more and had made it, given more characterization and spent more time with them, then I would have been more satisfied with the movie. And before the medium goes over to Britain, she has a flashback or a vision or something like that of the Amityville case, where she basically the demon that she saw there re-manifests, and during the vision she tears up a Bible asking the name of the demon. Who are you? Okay. And then it's like, so then there's this big final attack where she thinks that where basically the demon has taken over the girl almost entirely and has locked everyone out of the house. And so the medium couple breaks into the house through the flooded basement, and then they do an exorcism on it and prevent the girl from jumping out of a window, or from the guy in the medium couple from falling onto a tree that was struck by lightning, and then the resulting stump was kind of sphere shaped, and so they were going to fall out of the second story window onto it. I know, it sounds ludicrous. But this is actually what happened in the movie. And then, okay, and so then it turns out that the demon in the Amityville case in America is actually the same demon in this case. And so she exorcises the demon, and the demon goes back to hell. And everyone is saved. And I'm just like, it was so dissatisfying of an ending. My sister loved the movie for some reason. I don't get it. There was only one point in this movie where I jumped even a little bit. That there was one moment. And it's when the husband in the family is downstairs in the flooded basement, and he's going over to fix the leaky pipe that is flooded. And the lady sees a shadow behind him, and he turns around and looks. He doesn't see anything, so he's coming, wading back through the water up towards the steps. And right before he gets out of the water, he looks behind him again. He doesn't see anything, and then he looks down into the water, and then he sees the reflection of the old man in the water, and then he gets pulled down and is attempted to be drowned. And which wasn't really, I mean, when I saw the reflection in the water, I was like, oh, silly jump scare. And then, there was so many plot holes. So when she tore up her Bible, she was actually in her vision writing down the name of the demon. So one of the things that the plot holes, is that she has this vision where she basically tears up her Bible, and then she doesn't look at it. She has the vision in America, doesn't even glance at her Bible to see how she tore it up. But she conveniently brought her almost entirely destroyed Bible from America with her to Great Britain. And she's like, oh man, if we knew the demon's name, we would have power over it. Wait, maybe I do know the demon's name. Let me go get my Bible. Let me see. V-A-L-K-I-R. Valkyr, the corrupt, or whatever. And it's like, what? You didn't, and then, because the wife saw the demon and it possessed the same manifestation as the one in Amityville, you're like, it's the same demon. It's the same demon. It's obvious. It's the same demon. It's clearly the same demon. You should know exactly what you're dealing with here, and you don't. I figured it out in the first, other than the fact that they tell you in the opening crawl, the hints that they give you, that they show in the movie, should indicate that this is the same demon. Of course, I don't believe in the physical manifestation of demons, or demons in general, or ghosts, or ghouls, goblins, magic. And it's just, It just didn't make any sense. There were so many plot holes. And then what would have been best? So what would have made this movie better was if the girl who was apparently being possessed had instead of actually being possessed, was schizophrenic. And now this, well, that would have been interesting if they had actually caught her in multiple instances faking it. And then her bouts of schizophrenia basically kind of had a PCP-like effect where it removes the cap on her strength. And so she's able to basically lift things that, you know, it's possible for an 8-year-old to lift, but you never see it happen because they just don't. And, you know, there's the muscles naturally have their limitations, and something like PCP, or perhaps one of these schizophrenic bouts, would have given her the strength to, like, throw a dining room table across the room or something like that. And that the experiences of her teleporting are actually instances of her basically blacking out from her own visions. Or, like, there's a point where she's, like, stuck on the ceiling, and you're like, how the fuck is she stuck on the ceiling? Well, what if she wasn't actually stuck on the ceiling, but was having an episode and believed that she was? And then basically one of her other personalities or something like that was causing her to walk to another room or something like that. But they show, like, actual teleportation and basically try to convince you that this is absolutely real, man, that this actually happened, and that there wasn't a reasonable explanation for it. And then you know, they would have thrown her into a mental hospital and, like, yeah, and then gotten her treatment, like lithium pills or something like that, and then, you know, had an interview with her at the end or something like that. That would have been amazing. That would have been so much more believable, and still could have been horror. You know, because mental illness is scary. She had, you know, almost killed several of her siblings. I don't know. I don't know. It would have been better. So, Conjuring 2, I give 2 Conjurings out of 5. This has been Alex with SGSM. Next time I do The Secret Life of Pets.